The office of the president wields great power, shaping the direction of the nation and influencing the lives of millions of Americans every single day. From the Oval Office, decisions are made that ripple across the country and the world, affecting everything from national security to the economy. But that power is not absolute. It is checked by the courts, which serve as a crucial safeguard in our democracy. Judges interpret the law and ensure that no one, not even the president, is above it. Recent legal challenges against former President Trump have put the limits of executive authority under the microscope, drawing intense public scrutiny and sparking debate about the true reach of presidential power. These cases aren't just about one leader, they raise fundamental questions about our system of government. Where does presidential power end, and where does the authority of Congress and the courts begin? The answers will impact not just today's leaders, but generations to come. The outcomes could redefine how future presidents govern, setting new precedents that will guide the actions of those who follow. At stake is the president's ability to fire key officials, set immigration policy, and impose tariffs, powers that touch on national security, the economy, and the very fabric of American society. Each case is a test of the Constitution's checks and balances, challenging the boundaries of executive authority and the resilience of our democratic institutions. The nation is watching closely as the courts draw new lines for presidential power, with citizens everywhere tuning in, debating and waiting to see how these historic decisions will unfold. The decisions made now will shape the presidency for years to come, influencing not only the current administration but the very future of American democracy. One major case now capturing national attention centers on a fundamental issue: the independence of the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States. The Federal Reserve has long been seen as an institution set apart from day-to-day politics, designed to make decisions free from political interference. But in August 2025, former President Donald Trump abruptly fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook, citing alleged misconduct, a move that sent shockwaves through Washington and the financial world. In response, Cook filed a lawsuit, arguing that the president had overstepped his legal authority, and in doing so, threatened the very independence that is supposed to shield the Fed from political pressure. The law is ambiguous on whether a president can remove a Federal Reserve governor for cause, and there is little precedent for such a dramatic action. Now, Judge Gia Cobb is tasked with deciding whether to reinstate Cook while the case moves forward, a decision that could have far-reaching consequences for the balance of power between the executive branch and the central bank. Throughout the controversy, the Federal Reserve itself has remained neutral, emphasizing its respect for the judicial process and the importance of maintaining public trust. The outcome of this case could either expose the central bank to new levels of political influence or reinforce its autonomy, setting a powerful precedent for future administrations. Around the world, global markets and policymakers are watching closely, awaiting a decision that could fundamentally reshape the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the White House for years to come. Another legal battle targets a Trump-era immigration rule for rapid deportations. The policy allowed removal of immigrants without a hearing if they'd been in the U.S. less than 2 years. Civil rights groups sued, arguing it violated due process. Judge Cobb blocked the rule, finding it likely unconstitutional under the Fifth Amendment. Her ruling affirmed that even non-citizens have the right to a fair hearing before deportation. The case highlights the judiciary's role in checking executive power on immigration. Its outcome could set a lasting precedent for the rights of immigrants. The third front: presidential authority over trade and tariffs. Trump imposed sweeping tariffs, citing emergency powers and national security. Business groups challenged the move, arguing only Congress can regulate trade. A federal appeals court agreed, ruling the president had overstepped. The court let the tariffs stand temporarily to avoid economic disruption, but the government is appealing to the Supreme Court. The financial stakes are huge. Tariff revenues have soared. The Supreme Court's decision could either expand presidential power over trade or reaffirm Congress's control. The outcome will set a major precedent for economic policy. The balance of power between the branches hangs in the balance. These three cases are about more than just the actions of a single president. They're about the very foundation of executive power in America and how it will be shaped for generations. The questions at stake reach far beyond the current administration, touching every future occupant of the Oval Office. They're about the future of executive power, how much authority the president should have, and where the boundaries must be drawn to protect democracy. The court's rulings in these cases will define the limits of presidential authority for decades to come, setting precedents that will guide not only this generation, but many that follow. If the president is granted the power to fire Federal Reserve governors at will, the independence of the central bank, long considered a cornerstone of economic stability, could be threatened, potentially allowing politics to influence monetary policy. If due process is denied in deportations, it could mean that basic legal protections for immigrants are weakened, fundamentally changing the rights and lives of millions of people who seek a future in the United States. If broad presidential powers over tariffs are upheld, Congress's traditional role in shaping trade policy could shrink dramatically, shifting the balance of power in Washington and affecting global markets. The judiciary stands as the final arbiter in these disputes, interpreting the Constitution and its principles to address the complex challenges of the modern era. The decisions made in these cases will ripple through American law and politics for years, influencing how government functions and how power is shared. They will shape every presidency to come, affecting not just leaders, but the lives of ordinary Americans. As the nation watches closely, the system of checks and balances is being tested and ultimately defined for a new era, ensuring that the core values of American democracy endure.